You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
Welcome back, everyone. 50 after the hour, and Ganja John, remind me, this strain, no good for pre-show. Terrible for pre-show. Hey, wanted to give you an update on Willie Nelson, the redheaded stranger, 77-year-old country music and acting legend. We reported about his bust as it happened in Hudspeth County. This is Sierra Blanca, Texas, 30 miles away from the border by the Border Patrol. They busted 77-year-old Willie Nelson and his tour bus because they opened the tour bus door and they smelled a whiff of weed, and they found him with what at the time they said was 6 ounces of weed, but now apparently is only a misdemeanor amount of weed. Interesting how some of that weed just disappeared between arrest and after all the PR. But anyway, misdemeanor, good. We're glad Willie's not going to be in trouble here. But I wanted to point out something from Willie Nelson's website to just show you the kind of heart that we cannabis consumers have. Remember, we're talking about Hudspeth County in Sierra Blanca, Texas. This is posted just this weekend at willienelson.com, and it says, Hudspeth County Sheriff's Office every year takes donations to buy gifts for our school kids. We would greatly appreciate your support. Hudspeth County Sheriff's Office, P.O. Box 39, Sierra Blanca, Texas, 79851. Make your donation in the Willie Nelson name so that they know how much we support Willie. That is so beautiful. We're going to get toys and funds donated for kids' toys in the county for the sheriff who busted Willie Nelson. Talk about turn the other cheek. Talk about let not mankind bogart love. That's just a beautiful thing. Thank you, Willie Nelson, for doing that and making us cannabis consumers look so good. I was checking out the report on this on Willie Nelson arrest here in Rolling Stone. And in Rolling Stone magazine, they point out how the sheriff there was kind of surprised at all the fuss. Chief Deputy Mike Doyle of Hudspeth County Sheriff's Department told Rolling Stone, quote, "For what it's worth, we appreciate the mention and we're glad to take any donations for the children of Hudspeth County. We think that's pretty good." Doyle was at the sheriff's office when Nelson was booked and said he was surprised by the remarkable media response. Really? Surprised that there'd be media response to a marijuana bust of Willie Nelson? Really? Surprised? He says, quote, "He had a little bag of marijuana and I would never have dreamed of the coverage it got. Nonetheless, we've got a job to do and we've got to do what we've got to do. We handled it as easily as we could and still do our job. The man's what, 77 years old? What are we going to do to him? He was very cooperative and nice and pleasant to be around," end quote. Okay, we got to do our job, We hear this from cops all the time. We don't make the laws, we just enforce them. And yet anytime a medical marijuana law comes up, the cops are in there testifying against it. But never mind, they don't make the laws, right? They just enforce them. But he says he's got to do our job. And you know, cops across this country are doing their job every day busting marijuana consumers. Over 850,000 of us will be arrested every year on marijuana charges, with 89% of those arrests, about 750,000 of them, being for possession alone, okay? Mostly misdemeanors, mostly less than misdemeanors in some states, talking ticketing offenses in some cases, and only, again, 10 to 11% for any sort of sales or growing. And remember, when we're talking about the growing offenses, that also counts the people who are personally growing, never giving to anyone else, never selling to all the people that are using it medically. Those are also counted in those 850,000 marijuana arrests. Now, Willie Nelson is charged with a Class A misdemeanor, which is a maximum penalty of 1 year and a $4,000 fine. Now, that's up to, again, the district attorneys there and all the lawyers to prosecute that, the prosecuting attorneys to prosecute that. And I'm willing to bet there's going to be some sort of plea deal that makes sure that Willie Nelson, at 77 years old, doesn't end up doing time. But for the other 850,000 of us that are arrested on marijuana offenses, we don't get that kind of treatment. We don't get those kind of breaks that Willie Nelson is going to get. And I'm not suggesting in any way that Willie Willie Nelson shouldn't get a break, but we should all get that break. There shouldn't be a break to be had. Marijuana should just be legal for us to use and possess and grow in the first place. 850,000 marijuana arrests every year. And as we talked about in the news today, the Human Rights Watch came out with their study of New York City pot possession arrests. Mere possession of arrests of less than an ounce of marijuana in a state that has decriminalized the possession of marijuana. People are going to jail, and because they can't afford $1,000 bail, 2 weeks or more in jail. For all those people spending time in jail, we have all the jobs that they lose because their employer doesn't look too kindly at them taking an unannounced 2-week break because they got popped with pot. How about the people that lose their jobs from drug testing? How about the people that lose their kids in some sort of custody hearing with a bitter ex-spouse who brings up their marijuana use as a reason to declare someone an unfit parent? How about all the civil asset forfeitures that take place? You know, they're not going to take Willie Nelson's bus, the Honeysuckle Rose, but they could take all sorts of property from Willie Nelson if they really wanted to. The horror of civil asset forfeiture means that your property is charged with a crime, even if you were never charged with a crime. And you have to go defend your property in court to prove that it's innocent because it's guilty until proven innocent by you. They take your property away from you just in the name of the war on drugs, on some crazy theory that you may have purchased your boat or your house or your big screen TV from the proceeds of illegally dealt marijuana. We have people that are going in for organ transplants who lose their organ transplant because of their marijuana use, because of the testing for marijuana. We have people that are underemployed or unemployed because of the testing for marijuana, or maybe they've lost their jobs because of the use of marijuana. 850,000 people arrested this year for marijuana. Some of those people will be people that are convicted of their third strike, or people that are caught violating their probation because they're using marijuana and put back into prison where they can't contribute to society, where they can be taught more of the criminal arts, where they can have less of a chance of rejoining our active society when they finally get out of prison. Yes, let's not arrest Willie Nelson. Let's not lock up Willie Nelson, but let's not arrest or lock up any of us. You know, Snoop Dogg also weighed in on this on TMZ just this weekend. And he said that they better leave Willie the fuck alone, man. Willie Nelson is a legend. Sometimes you need to back up off of certain people and have a certain amount of respect for your elders. And Willie Nelson is our elder. Willie Nelson is my people. If you got a problem with Willie Nelson, you got a problem with me, according to Snoop Dogg. Well, yeah, he is our elder. He is a legend. We should have respect for him. But again, he shouldn't be treated any different than any other American who is exercising their American right to use hemp. If experimenting with our consciousness is not a part of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the Declaration of Independence isn't worth the hemp it was written on. So says Terrence McKenna, and so says Normal Show Live. Free Willie Nelson. Free the 850,000 people that are charged with marijuana arrests every year. Free the 40,000 or so people that are currently sitting in jail right now for a marijuana possession, for a marijuana cultivation, for marijuana distribution, or increasingly conspiracy theories, conspiracies to distribute marijuana, where in some cases drugs aren't even found and people are convicted on conspiracy charges alone. The Willie Nelson case just shines the spotlight on the insanity of arresting and prosecuting people for marijuana. Everybody in the media is treating this like it's some sort of funny story, some sort of human interest story, but what it really does is show how insane it is to prosecute for marijuana, period. It's not that he's 77 years old. It's not that it's Willie Nelson. It's not that he's been known to smoke marijuana all his life. It's that he's a human being, that he's an American citizen in the land of the free and the home of the brave that is charged with the possession of dried vegetable material. This is insane. It's not the America we deserve. Fight for your rights. Free Willie Nelson. Legalize marijuana. Let's be free. Let's be adults. Let's live in the country that we all want it to be. We cannot have our true freedom until marijuana is legalized for everyone. I'm Radical Russ for Ganja John and Cannabis Carrie. Thanks for joining us for Hour 1. Hour 2 is up next. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.